Hey everyone, welcome to the Friday Conversations with previous guests of the Ultimate Coach podcast. Tonight's guest, we have Mike Kotsis with us. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're excited to hear what you have to say. You were on a podcast episode 55, and it was Being in the Miraculous Present Moment. This was such a fun podcast for me personally to listen to. The conversation that you and Meredith had back and forth was incredible. All of the different situations that you spoke about where you could be present in, with your family, in your job, with your what, there were so many things that really kind of, in my mind, opened up the scope of what being was and how you can be and where you can be. Talk a little bit more about that. What does it mean to you to be in the miraculous present moment?
Well, it starts with that for me. It starts with the breath. And when I'm going fast, my mind is always going faster. And, it immediately will make up all these crazy scenarios too. If my body's tired, if I've had, a longer day and I've, through exercise or working with people, my body's tired, I get into my head. And it always goes out to like some future scenario or something that my default habitual way of being that I've learned through being an engineer from years ago and analytical and planful and calculating. It goes to like getting stuff done and like trying to knock everything out to completion. And yeah, that's when I'm not tuning in. And so if I just take a moment and breathe and realize like what does my body need right now? What is most useful in this moment? And then, sometimes in those scenarios, it's just go to bed.
Right. I know that when we were in the book reading, I believe it was 2 weeks ago when we were in the chapter of creation, this kind of came up about the habitual speeding through life, speeding through your days, and about how that inhibits creation as well as your being, which are tied hand in hand, but aren't necessarily the same thing. And so when you're in those moments and you find yourself slowing down, what is it that you do to slow down? Like when you realize I'm just zooming through, or I've got too many things going on, or I need to go to bed. How do you wind yourself to the point where you can notice that?
For me, it's a tuning into my body. My body clues me in faster than I realize what I'm thinking. So for me, it's a heaviness of my head, a tightness within myself. It's overall like I feel heavier if I were to describe it. And so when I feel heavier, there's something going on that is like churning up here, and it helps me to clue in and just pause for a moment to see what that is. And often it doesn't really matter what it is, but if I just pause and just relax and breathe right now, it just shakes up the whatever that's right in front of me that I'm focused on, because I realize is that I'm driving here with my head. I'm driving here with my strategic brain, my intellect, my willpower, and I'm totally ignoring my heart. And I've had so much as an entrepreneur and working with entrepreneurs and leaders and coaches, like we get very strategic. We get very, we want to get out there and solve things. We scare ourselves half the time. And so we live up here, which closes off everything peer down. And then for me, that just, I didn't even realize I was doing it for so long. It just became habitual behavior. And so then I would grind through things. I would get through things. And so just pausing for that moment helps me to open it back up and say, okay, it helps me to reconnect head and heart in this moment.
And I think that's essentially what being present is aligning yourself, like on both levels. What does my head need? What does my heart need at this point? And that just allows us to be, in my experience anyway, that allows me to be everything that I need to be for myself, but also for other people at the same time. You know, that habitual moving through, I think sometimes other people can kind of get overlooked. I don't want to say pushed aside, but we can overlook a lot of things that aren't screaming at us, like you said. You know, everything's yelling at you, and I think that's kind of the whole point of being, is aligning yourself to what is going to be best for you and for your everybody around you and your environment.
Yeah, it's coming into harmony is
Yeah.
like how I hear that. And for me, it's reminding to feel inside of myself. So I feel inside of myself, inside my neck, my heart. I feel spaciousness start to move again. And then when I'm back there, it allows my head and heart to connect. In fact, there's a one-line prayer that I often say. I don't always say it aloud, but I'll say it to myself, and it helps me to tune back in. And you mind if I share it with you?
Please do.
It's purify me, cleanse me, bring me into harmony, give me beauty, understanding, and light.
It's
And I
beautiful.
feel it as I say it, as I'm praying to God to feeling into this spot. And I often say, help me to get out of the way. Help me to get out of the way and pour your spirit through me right here, right now. And that helps my mind to relax. It helps it to not have to think it knows what it thinks it needs to have done. But
Right.
yet not denying it. Like it's still still participate. I just don't need it to lead. Does that make
That
sense?
is, it makes absolute sense. That is incredibly beautiful. Where did you get that? Can I ask where that came from?
It's an Orthodox prayer,
Is it?
Orthodox Christian prayer that I found, and it just resonated with me.
That's beautiful. So tell me a little bit more about what is the difference for you based upon what we were talking about, the topic of your podcast? What is being present in the moment versus being in the presence of the miraculous moment?
For me, it's how we create it. Like I believe that there's miracles occurring all the time, everywhere. So much of my life, I was focused in some direction, whether it's this direction, that direction, it doesn't really matter. I'm going somewhere. And I miss it. It's like I put blinders on. And so when I slow down and breathe and remember I'm alive, like that's cool and that's really useful. But then when I look for the miracle of when I just slow down that extra millisecond too, and I'm looking out the window right here and I'm looking at some of the shrubs and the trees that are out there, and I just slow down and say, I didn't do that. I didn't make those. I had nothing to do with those existing. That's a miracle. The fact that we're sitting here on Zoom, connecting over computers, and we're having a conversation in real time. When I slow down and I feel the awe of that is the miraculous present moment. It's the beyond just slowing down and breathing. It's the appreciation and the gratitude and the awe, the mind-blowingness. When I just feel that, I can't put words on it, but when I feel that in that moment, there's such an appreciation and gratitude.
I think miracles are like anything else. The more you look for them, the more you see them, and the more you see them, the more you look for them, right? I had somebody say to me one time, and this has become a line in my document, is I am the miracle who creates miracles. And I've noticed, like you said, that within that, if I'm looking for those opportunities to create those, then I see those ones that are already there more often than I would if I'm just in my head. But when I'm able to slow down and see those ones that are already there, I'm also more inspired and able to see opportunities to create those. And it does, it brings up that gratitude to a level that's almost inexpressible, that because you find gratitude in everything at that point. Once you start having this genuine gratitude, I think it's hard to really to let go of that in any way, shape, or form. I think it's always subconsciously in you. And it's constantly creating on its own, and it helps you to create those miracles in your own right.
Yeah. I love the way that you articulated that and shared how you see that. It's what I hear you saying is that there's a big power in the language that we use. And when I look
Absolutely.
for a miracle, that's a more expansive word. That's a more there's more, it's a bigger word, and it has a different meaning and connotation. And so when we feel that and use that expansive word, it takes me out of habitual way of thinking, feeling, and doing.
Right. Well, and it gets us out of our own way, like you said, you know. So many times we're like blinding ourselves, and you're just like, oh, just step to the side, Carrie, and see what's going on. Yeah. And I love the fact, so for me with miracles, miracles can mean anything. They can mean so many different things. So it can be those things that you couldn't create, that just are, that we don't have a way to create. At the same time, they can be these acts that we put forward to people or to animals or to society. They can be things that we see other people do and we don't have a part of, but you can still acknowledge them as miracles. And I think that, I don't know, I think that miracles are just, again, I love the title of being in the miraculous present moment. Of if you can remember to be present, look for those miracles, get that alignment and get out of your head, the things that people can accomplish within themselves and out in the world, indescribable. You know, there's no limits to it.
And that's the word, that limitless was what was coming to my
Limitless.
mind as you were talking. It's limitless because it's beyond time. It's Eckhart talks about the timeless present moment. And this present moment, it spans beyond all concepts of time, and we're thinking, and it connects me to everyone and everything right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I close my eyes and I imagine a good friend on the other side of the world, and I send him blessings and prayers right now, like that's, I know that he's receiving them and feels them right now. Not sometime later or tomorrow or some other point. And I don't have to know how it works. I don't have to know why that occurred to me to do right in this moment. And it
Mm-hmm.
did. And that, like, it's much bigger than any one of us. I mean, so in
Mm-hmm.
these miracles, it's the couple of pictures that come to my head. It's watching my kids sleep, kissing them goodnight after they go to bed, and just appreciating them and seeing them rest and rejuvenate and blessing them, all the way to fun things like 2 nights ago. There were 6 hot air balloons that flew up over the lake towards our house, and we just happened to look out the window. We were watching one of our family shows, and we just paused for a moment, looked out, saw this, and I saw one land like over a neighbor's house. We're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. Let's get in the car and let's go check it out. So we hopped in the car, and because I didn't know if it was going to take back off right away or what it was going to do. And we drove over there, and the people that were there were getting out of the basket, and we showed up. They're like, you guys want to get in? And so my kids got in that hot air balloon. They took them up like 15 feet and brought them back down. It was like
Really?
right at sunset. It was beautiful. It was really magical on how that showed up. Did I plan that? No, but I
Right.
showed up with just appreciation, awe, and just was there. And so that is a miracle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that example. And I bet your kids I bet that's a memory that your kids will be able to look on as well. And when you talk about miracles and focus on miracles in any kind of conversation with them, that's something that they can always hold on to and draw from.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. That's so lovely. Well, Mike, we are out of time. I have loved our conversation. I've loved you being here. Thank you so much for that. I want to remind everybody of the Ultimate Experience Arizona 2025 that is coming up in January. That'll be January 24th, 25th, and 26th in Scottsdale. This will be our first 3-day event, and it's going to be incredible. It's being put on by Judy and Eric Thurston, and it's just going to be amazing. And I'm super, super excited about it. Anybody have any questions about that, just put a comment in the TUC Facebook group and somebody will jump in there.
I do.
Yeah.
Our whole family will be there. All
Oh,
6 of us
wonderful.
will be there for the 3 days. We've committed, our tickets are purchased, and we would love other families to join us there for the 3 days as well, because it's an embodied experience. We've had miracle after miracle show up for our family from what has transpired from the Birmingham event here, with the types of commitments each of the 6 of us have made on our own. So I highly recommend and encourage anybody that's considered bringing 1, 2, or 3 members of their family or your entire family, please do that. It will transform your relationships.
It's amazing. Always feel free to reach out to Mike or myself, or just like I said, put a note in the Facebook group and somebody will answer it. So, Mike, thanks again for being here with us. Anything you would like to say before we close?
Just, I appreciate your willingness to do this, your heart-centered approach, and reaching out to me, to others, to help spur possibility for so many people. You are an inspiration, Carrie, and I really appreciate you taking the time, having the dedication and the commitment to creating this for so many people that we don't even know yet. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, everybody, Mike Kotsis. It is podcast episode 55, Being in the Miraculous Present Moment. Go back, look it up, listen to it, and you will be inspired just like I was. Thanks again, Mike. Everyone, have a great evening. We'll talk soon.